Hello, you're welcome to your favorite program, info.com. My name is Biyi, Fashoyin, and this week is going to be very, very exciting. Now, we know that you guys have gone on Twitter, you've gone on Facebook, and you've tried to see what we've been doing on YouTube. In case you haven't, it's just infocomltv on YouTube, on Twitter, and we'd like to be liked. So, like us on Facebook, you can get, snippets of whatever it is that we do every week, which will be setting an agenda for this government. Part of our jobs as watchdogs of the society, as journalists, is not just only to find out what's wrong or right, or to criticize, but also to set an agenda. And then we take a look at the milestones and we say, well, we've done well this way, we have done well that way. And so that together, Nigeria can become, can get to that level where we can stand toe-to-toe with the rest of the world. This week I'll have with me Remi Nweke, who will join me in the studios. He is the Group Executive Director of Digital Sense. The Digital Sense Group, they have magazines, they also have the AgroNet, they have a lot of things, and they are also the guys that did that IPv6. They do that every year. I'm sure you haven't forgotten that. So he will join me in the studio. He's an accomplished journalist and easily, most likely, one of the most decorated ICT journalists in Africa. Award-winning, is also an author. He will join me at the studios, and together with Kayode Kolade, we'll take a look at what the government needs to do in terms of the agenda setting for the government. And in the next segment, Bayero Agabi of AIT, he may be joining me for that segment, but I know that Onyechi would also be around. Whichever one of them comes in, be sure that you're going to have a nice time. What are we going to talk about? We'll talk about protecting the child on the internet. This is an issue that a lot of parents have been talking about. Who actually should be the regulatory authority? Who should know how to, pull up the plugs to protect our children? Does the parent? Is it the parent? Is it the government? Is it the society? These are many things that what we're talking about on this week. This and many more will be coming to you from the studios of Lagos Television. But don't go anywhere because info.com just began. My name, Biyi. I'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back to the studios of Lagos Television. This is still info.com. And of course, I have my guests. I promised that you will have with me in-house Remi Nweke, who is Group Executive Director of Digital Sense, their group, magazines, content providers, member of a lot of international bodies, award-winning journalist, author. The list goes on. Remi, you're welcome.
Thank you, Biyi.
How are you? Are you okay?
Thank God.
Okay, all right. I did say that of course, there was a series we did on IPv6 where we had Mrs. Kendwilliam Nweke, who was the face of that, but this is the husband. So Remi, you're welcome one more time.
Thank you.
And of course, Kayode Kolade, my very good friend and in-house analyst. You've been gone for some time. How are you? Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine
good.
here.
Okay. Remi, let me come back. Let me start with you.
Right.
As part of our duties as watchdog, we should not just criticize, but before we criticize, we should first have set an agenda.
Yeah.
And then when we take a look at the agenda and we take a look at the performance, we can then begin to bring the government to, realities on what they've done right and what they've done wrong. I saw in the Digital Sense magazine that it was the future, setting an agenda for the government. Well, Mohamed Buhari, in your case, what, in your view or in your opinion, should be what that agenda should be?
Well, to start with, thank you very much for inviting us. To start with, I think the agenda for Buhari at this moment should be to take, first of all, a review of broadband policy, which is very, very key, because everything you are doing nowadays cannot divorce broadband from it. and any technology coming into the stream cannot still divorce broadband from it. So it's called that everything is revolving around broadband. And for us as Nigerians, the SWAL government was able to bring on board broadband policy for Nigeria. So a lot of expectations are in there, what we should expect by end of next year, some 2018, some 2020. And we expect that, having experimented with the Ministry of Comtech,
Yeah.
we expect to also that to be sustained.
This government created that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They created it, and now that another government has come in, we expect that that should be sustained. Although some other people are also calling for specific ministry, some other subsector kind of. But let us consolidate on the Comtech ministry, what they have done so far in the last, let's say, 4 years or 3.5 years, if you don't mind, and then move on from there. But the most important thing, one key thing they were able to achieve was the population of Nigeria index when it comes to adaptation of ICT tools, both locally and globally. And that gives a lot of encouragement to investors. And moving it from there, we still also have to explore other areas within the broadband policy. It should move on with what they have there. They have a broadband policy committee or council.
Broadband council.
Council.
Yeah.
And then they also have a subcommittee on media, and I'm sure they also have that in other subsectors that made up the ICT industry. So for the government that we have now, they should make sure that this is sustained. Otherwise, there will be a lot of misgivings in the industry, and nobody will be interested in misreading Nigeria at this point in time, because I think we already have a lot of challenges, like insecurity, the lies, and things like that. Some of these things come to bear when investors need to take decisions. So for us, the government that just left have laid a good foundation that must not be thrown aside or misinterpreted in any way to become a political issue. We must leave politics out of it and see it as a building blocks that we must step on. To
build on so that we can then have a better story to tell.
Exactly. Okay. By the time you will say he's counting his 100 years in office, we should be able to say, okay, now whoever is taking over from Omobala Johnson, he must make sure he's an industry person who understands how the industry
feels.
That's
the agenda. So the next minister must be an industry person.
Must be an industry person.
Okay.
To understand where the industry is coming from and where we are looking at going. Otherwise, we start afresh. If it becomes a political appointee
won't know what to
that comes from anywhere, then we are missing the road from that point.
Okay, Remy, you raised a lot of issues, especially looking at the subsector. The broadband is key, like you said. Now, Kolade, let's look at the other parts of it. Post and telecoms, we don't know what's happening again. Aside from the broadband, even the telecommunications itself, space agency, NICOMSAT, all these issues are issues that we must set an agenda for, so that we can then move from where we were. What is your view on this?
Well, to be frank, as I said, there is always a basis for everything. The truth is, the past administration, which was headed by Mbolaji Johnson, you get it, did well. There is a limit to where she could go, not because she doesn't want to go she doesn't want to go further than how far she went, but there are limitations based on what's it called? Based on the synchronization that is supposed to happen between other industry. You get it, the power sector, for example, you get it. So that restricted her. And as he also said, we've laid the foundation. So what this government just need to do, not just limiting it to broadband now, to everything, is just to build massively on that foundation and to make sure we put the right peg in the right hole, which is what he said, that get somebody in the industry who understands the industry very well to head that place so that we can move faster. Otherwise, you will bring in somebody and we'll begin to learn who is a politician, he will begin to learn on the job, and before you know it, 4 years is gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Remy, before we end the segment, part of the achievement of this last administration, the Broadband Council, like you said, he was very, very serious with the broadband. You know, he set up committees and everything. And towards the end, the signing of the cybercrime into law. How can we build on this? You know, especially taking a look at the kind of image we have outside, you know, outside Nigeria as cyber criminals and all this. So how do we build on that so that that law takes effect, and then we can begin to build a better image for ourselves online?
Well, the most important thing about that is that it has been signed, and we thank former President Jonathan for that, because this has been on since, should I say, 1999?
Yes, yeah, I think since 99.
Since 99. So we thank him for that. And now that it has become an act, the first thing, like I referenced in our EDC when he was making the opening remark a few days ago on Internet Governance for Development that we heard, is the implementation. If we don't implement it or use it, there's no way we can interpret whatever is the content of that act. So it's when we start building on that. If there are issues, stakeholders can start amending, like Guzo said during the event. We start amending, proposing amendment, and then them at the legislative end should also engage the public through their public hearing systems, and then the public also within the sector, interest groups, should not lose sight. They shouldn't go to sleep because we have now gotten a cyber law. They should also have a stake in it, study it as well, follow up with cases that are in courts, so that if there are areas that need to be amended, they will start early enough to agitate for it. That's the only way we can start improving on that. If you don't have good interpretation, for instance, and then training of our lawyers, and judges to understand the nomenclature of that act.
Of the act, yes.
Because if they don't understand it, they will think it's just like any other law. And then when someone steals your system, they will give him a fine of 10 naira. But then when someone hacks a system, they will fine him for 5 naira. It's not the same thing. You know, so they need to also be trained. There should be training and training and training, both at the judiciary end and also at the legislative end. So that all of them would have an understanding of what. And then stakeholders will key into it, knowing fully well that they must agitate for better performance from all sectors. Because outside that, even the police need to be brought in, even do their more or less from the executive arm. They need to be brought in as well in terms of training. Because if the judiciary interprets the law and there's no implementation of what the law, then we have not achieved anything.
Okay, all right. Thank you so very much, Remy. Kaude, for this segment, thank you. I know you didn't speak much. You're going to kill me for it. No. But during the second segment, don't go anywhere, because this is info.com. In the second segment, we will talk about child protection. Who takes responsibility for your act on the internet? Should the parent follow the child? Should they not give them gadgets? These and many more we'll talk about. Join us after this time out. Welcome back. I have my guest in the house, Biyi, Infotech Network AIT and multi-award-winning ICT journalist. Biyi, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
And I have Shalada Anijo. Shalada Anijo was the GM technology of a company we worked together on, which was putting a solution, a content provider, on, from the app to the hardware, which was meant for secondary schools. Shalada, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. So we're looking at child protection, or rather online protection.
Yeah.
So who should we hold responsible? Who should be the most responsible person or agency or people, for online
In my
protection?
view, I do not think we should be holding the parents responsible at this point, because we live in a mobile society that is upwardly, generally for the youth. We see a society right now where the children are far more sophisticated in terms of technology,
more knowledgeable,
be more savvy than even their parents. So who police who? Okay, so your child can return from school right now and you just say, "Daddy, hi." You say hi. I know he goes into his or her bedroom and then picks up, his or her phone and communicating with someone in the U.S. who he or she may trust much more than you. Getting information from that kind of person, and the person mentors him or her under your nose while you are watching football at home. So that is why I said it's not the parents, but I think there should be regulations that could help the parents, monitor what the children do, and also parents should be interested, in the kind of capacity that their children display, or when using such skills on the internet. Because if you remain illiterate and you are proud to be the digital illiterate, it is solely you that are going to suffer for it. Because I see a lot of parents, when you say, take this computer, I will say, my child, they know so much about it, and they are so proud about it. For me, I think it's an ignorance that you display in the public, and you should be ashamed of it.
Okay.
So parents should be interested in the kind of skills that their children display, and do not stop them from increasing those skills and knowledge.
I want to take you on that in the next question, because we're going to take a look at parents who don't know anything at all. Parents who have never even seen a computer. Okay, illiterate parents in the hinterlands. I'll take you up on that. But let me ask you, Shola. Now, you have worked where you have gadgets that has apps built into these devices and given to children. Are there ways to regulate? Do you have ways that are there apps that can have PG controls on most of this hardware?
Thank you very much. There are solutions out there. For instance, you have your normal parental control applications, but from my experience, a lot of these children, they have a way of circumventing these solutions. For instance, there was a college that we supplied tablets to, and at the end of the day, they kept on coming back to us that they needed parental control. So we supplied a solution to them, and they came back again and told us these children are circumventing these solutions. And what we found out was they were booting these devices in safe mode, and that disables the parental control solution that we installed on.
So we're helpless.
Well, it's not entirely a lost cause.
Okay.
There are some solutions out there whereby you install a client-side web categorization application.
So like client-side web application.
Web categorization database, so to speak, whereby any URL you type in, it checks on the whitelist or blacklist, and then if it's on either of those lists, it either allows the URL to go through or it blocks it.
Okay, you categorize some like the porn sites and all the rest on the blacklist, right?
Yes.
And then the ones that are safe will be on the
But the more robust solutions are where you have the entire categorization database on your device. So once you type anything in, whether you're going through your Wi-Fi radio, or you're going through mobile data, as long as it is going out of that device, then it blocks it out.
I wouldn't want to play the devil's advocate.
Okay.
Because when just in a dilemma, sometimes when you apply those kind of web categorization kind of apps or solutions, the question would be, is like a child of less than 14 years going on to sign on Facebook, and Facebook asks,
how old are you?
How old are you? And the child says, I'm 17 or 18 years. Facebook will allow you to go. Write policies to assist the parents with the proper skills and the proper training, and then knowledge.
I'm going to interject you there, because
I was actually, and then self-censorship. Self-censorship to bring about what I call cyber responsibility.
I would agree with him on that, because I have an 11-year-old daughter, and whenever she comes to me and says, she needs access to the internet, I put in the password and all of that. But
every now and then, I go check what's she doing online. Is she playing games? You know, because for girls, they have different websites where they go to play games for girls and those kind of things. And every now and then, even my wife too does it sometimes. You know, she just goes at random, picks up the device, checks what has this girl been doing online. So a lot of some of the responsibility lies with the parents. Yes. But I think that even device manufacturers have
responsibility as well.
Some responsibility.
Let me take Bayero. Bayero, I'm going to take you on. Now, you guys have talked about cyber responsibility. Yes. You know something about this, and that's why you're able to check Yerima, right? Yes. Now, in your case, you also, you're a technical person, so you can go check. We're looking at the villages, the hinterlands, where the man has never been to anywhere. He's never even seen a phone. He doesn't even know how to do anything. Yes. And his kids also have the same access to what your kids have access to. Now, head of regulation, NCC, was also asking the same question. Where is the agency? Which agency actually are you going to hold NCC responsible? They are not. Are you going to hold data responsible? They are not. Are you going to hold which agency? So tell me, who do we hold on? Who?
The Teacher Registration Council should be able to liaise with the agencies that are not in the hinterland to ensure that those teachers have the requisite skills to police the children even at school level. Because what happens in the hinterland is that the children are even far more sophisticated than even the teachers. And that is why you see those kind of proliferation, uncontrolled, nature you see in the hinterland happens. So you can't say because you are a regulator, you are based in Abuja, and therefore what happens in the hinterland is not your responsibility. Nigeria is your geographical space where you regulate. You must find a way and means through which you can regulate all of those things. That is why I said you cannot push parents to the wall over regulating or policing their children on the internet. We cannot stop this wave. It's a digital world, knowledge economy. Our children
it's a revolution.
Exactly, it's a revolution. The children must continue to grow. We must allow them to innovate, and that is why we have the likes of Facebook and the rest of it and all that. So that we can move from the kind of mechanical kind of economy we have today to a better society.
Wow. Shala, I'm going to end this way. Bayero has been able to say now that the parent really is the first authority, moral authority. Okay? So do we then advocate for parents everywhere, whether on the internet? Because what he said makes sense, that once you train your child very well, he knows what's good. Whether the parents understand or not, he will live by that principle. Exactly. And, so you're saying now that all parents should make the responsibility to check what their children do. And if you are in doubt, ask somebody who knows more about it.
Absolutely, okay. Absolutely. Right. I mean, if you leave your child to just roam free, then what's your responsibility? Yes.
Your responsibility may just be follow him to jail when he's with the cybercrime law now being passed. Gentlemen, I thank you so very much for coming on this segment. It's my pleasure, and I'm sure you're still going to be around. Especially you, Bayero, you should be here when the Emeka and Ba comes, so we can take him on this issue of the digital.
We really need to take him on.
Absolutely.
We need to take him on. That's our industry.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how far we can go this week. Until next week, same time, same station. I mean, yours sincerely, Biyi Fashoyin, signing out and saying goodbye, and God bless you.
Thank you.